The deadline for Women's Super League clubs to apply to stay in the top two tiers next season closed last Friday. Less than 50 days after announcing the controversial plans to restructure women's football, clubs have had to submit details of how they will meet the new strict criteria set out by the Football Association that will see the establishment of a fully professional top tier and semi-professional second tier. The changes have brought a mixed response from clubs, and now we have the first glimpse of their effects. Last Tuesday, the WSL2 club Watford announced they would not be applying to remain in the new semi-professional league, instead choosing to drop down into the amateur Women's Premier League. 2 days later, the WSL1 side Sunderland, who reverted to semi-professionalism this year, revealed they too would not meet Friday's deadline, instead choosing to launch a joint bid, presumably with the WSL2 side Durham, or in partnership with a university, for the top flight in March alongside applications from the lower leagues. Then last Friday, Yeovil, vocal opponents of the changes who have fought their way into WSL1 on a shoestring, announced they had submitted their application to stay in the top flight following weeks of campaigning, including crowdfunding. It is not clear whether they have reached the minimum investment level required. At the first hurdle, clubs are beginning to fall by the wayside after concerns from the outset, and voices from across women's football, that this would be the case. A petition against the restructure by Tony Farmer, the founder of Chelsea Ladies in 1991, who has started the group FA WSL Fans United, posed 19 questions to the FA and elicited a written response from Katie Brazier, head of women's leagues and competitions. However, Farmer is critical of the reply. If you listen to the radio interviews that Katie Brazier gave, her answers are almost identical to those in her reply to my letter, even though the questions are different, he said. It feels like a script. A year ago, Yeovil were WSL2 Club of the Year and applauded by the FA. A year later, the FA are writing criteria that could rule them out of the league they won promotion to. It's wrong. Promotion and relegation should be decided on the pitch, not changes. Farmer's passion is evident. These plans have pulled him back into the politics of women's football, even though he no longer works in the game and is just an interested spectator now. He contrasts Brazier's boast of the hugely speedy development of women's football since 2013 with the collapse of Notts County to illustrate how fragile this growth is. The effects of the switch to a winter league this season, pitting women's matches against men's and in less favorable weather, also hasn't had time to be gauged. It was expected this move would hit attendances, and that is proving to be the case. Clubs at the top are struggling as a result too. Arsenal attracted a crowd of 400 to their game at home to Sunderland on Sunday, compared with winless Yeovil's 683 the previous day. Brazier drew a funding comparison with the Netherlands in the letter, saying, "Many other national associations have chosen not to invest in developing a strong domestic league, for example Holland, and this has resulted in their players playing overseas." But Farmer described that as bizarre, saying, "I'm pretty sure they won Euro 2017.